They didn't expect her to walk through those silver gates, not with that face, not with that skin, not when their kind still whispered of the breach of Yarasith in their children's nightmares. But there she was, light stepping across the vast titanium floors of the Solaris core nexus, the heart of the neutral zone, where wars paused and eyes never blinked. Her diplomatic coat shimmered with ultraviolet threading, visible only to those who'd seen war written in alien light. She moved like a woman without fear, but with every reason to be feared. Eyla Teth, daughter of Saturn's Yard, hybrid of Earth and Averari descent, 75% human, 25% something far more ancient, a genetic lock in living form. She was beautiful, terrifyingly so. Skin like polished porcelain with warm undertones, eyes like storm clouds before lightning. Her dark hair swept back into a single high twist, streaked with silver neural threads glowing softly as she passed under ultraviolet beams. But it wasn't her appearance that turned heads, it was the silence that followed her like a tide. She had come not as a messenger, but a reminder. 15,000 years had passed since the Earth reckoning. Technology had rewritten civilization, memories archived, planets colonized, bloodlines scattered across galaxies. And yet, this woman's arrival signaled something older than all of it, a treaty not forgotten, but sealed. The guards at the outer hall instinctively stepped aside, not because she had weapons, but because their ancestors once feared her kind. She entered the tribunal without an escort. She needed none. The ancient glyphs on her hands shifted subtly, alive, sensing the room. This was not peace. This was warning.
Inside the chamber, light refracted like crystal through monolithic photon glass columns. Ethereal beams stretched toward an unseen ceiling, casting cathedral-like shadows onto the curved floor below. At the center floated the gravitational dais, and upon it stood High Voicer Veshel Antora, king of the Seraxi Dominion. The Seraxi were alien to the concept of emotion, but the moment Eyla entered, the hum of the chamber changed. A resonance pulsed in the walls, in their crystalline bodies. She heard it clearly, discordant, curious, afraid. Veshel rose slowly. His towering frame of fractal silicon armor scattered color like shattered prisms. His voice was harmonic, layered with tones and subharmonics. "You wear a human face," he declared, "but I hear the blood of something broken, something bound." She stepped forward, revealing the living sigils etched across her bare hands. The ancient Averari script glowed like veins of fire beneath skin. The pale treaty wasn't a pact, she said. It was a prison. A murmur, unheard to the human ear, shuddered through the Seraxi. For 9 millennia, the name of the treaty had gone unspoken in this chamber. Veshel's form surged with offense. "You dare speak of ancient shame," he hissed. "You are not a queen. You are a half-blood echo." He lunged. Faster than a being his size should move, a halberd of light and antimatter sliced toward her in one deadly, graceful arc. It never struck. The blade froze inches from her chest, humming violently in the air, locked by a force unseen, anchored by something beneath reality. Glyphs activated along the tribunal floor. Patterns long dormant shimmered to life under her feet. Symbols even the Seraxi had forgotten. "You just triggered the second seal," she whispered, eyes now glowing fully green. This was not diplomacy. This was prophecy waking. The floor beneath her glowed in constellations no map remembered. A cascade of glyphs spiraled out from her presence, symbols only the Averari bloodline could awaken. The ancient code of the Founders was not language, it was instruction. She stood at the center of a design hidden beneath the tribunal itself, not a courtroom, a vault. The chamber trembled, not from any quake, but from the pressure of remembrance. "You killed the Watcher," she said coldly. "The envoy who was meant to keep the key dormant, and by doing so, you called me."
The guards stepped forward, halberds raised, only to freeze, locked in place by harmonic resonance emanating from her sigils. Light peeled away from her figure like a blade drawn from a sheath. The hollow star isn't a myth. She's not a god. She was a safeguard, one whose purpose was to unmake war, not end it, erase it. She raised one hand. The sigils flashed bright. The massive dome above flickered, revealing a hidden structure, an ancient Averari console buried deep within the tribunal walls. It pulsed now, awakened by her bloodline. "I was born with the tether," she said, "and now the hollow star is listening again." The name struck fear not just in the Seraxi, but in the galactic observers watching remotely. A name buried by 12 galaxies. Not a weapon, not a deity, a living protocol. Eyla didn't blink as Veshel collapsed to one knee, his crown fracturing. His power and what it guarded was failing, not because of attack, because of memory. The hollow star remembered its purpose.
They believed she was the deterrent, the weapon, the warning. But even Eyla didn't fully know what she carried until the final seal activated. As Veshel's crown shattered across the crystalline floor, she stepped forward and picked up one of its fragments. It pulsed, warm, reactive, a bionode, a seed. Her glyphs responded. They spiraled down her arms, across her exposed chest, into the node. "The crown was never his," she said aloud, her voice echoing in more frequencies than the room could translate. "It was a carrier." The tribunal platform trembled. Beneath it, the buried Averari artifact, the forgotten core, lit up like a star being born. It thrummed with power older than language. She knelt and placed the crown shard into the terminal. The response was instant. Every Seraxi vessel in orbit went dark. The lights of the station flickered and shifted color, aligning with the hollow star's pulse signature. "This isn't war," she said, looking up into the fading light. "This is judgment." The tribunal was not a court, it was a lock, and she had just used her bloodline to open it. A voice, not hers, resonated from deep within the station, low, feminine, otherworldly. "I remember now." Observers watching across the galaxy fell silent. Systems began recalculating. Emergency protocols activated. The hollow star was not returning. She had never left. And now that the bloodline was activated again, the galaxy could not undo what it had buried. This was not peace. This was the reckoning, and Eyla Teth was its herald.
The chamber stood still, lit not by flame or screen, but by memory. Not memory stored in flesh, but etched into the walls of time itself. Above the tribunal, the hollow star pulsed, quiet, heavy, waiting. Solaris Core Nexus was no longer neutral. It had become sacred ground for something far older than politics. The glyphs beneath Eyla's feet had stopped shifting, not out of exhaustion, but reverence. They were listening, reacting not to bloodlines, but to her will. She didn't speak, she didn't need to. She was now part of the invocation. Born a hybrid, 75% human, 25% Averari, she had been made a living tether, a keystone. But that was only the surface. Her blood, designed to hold back the hollow star, had become the final word. And now, the galaxy balanced on it. The hollow star wasn't just a weapon, it wasn't a failsafe. It was a mirror, reflecting the state of the galaxy back at itself. Its original purpose was written in fire and silence. Erase the corrupted branch of time, reboot the galactic stream. Eyla understood the cost. If she let it finish, billions of lives would vanish. Entire species, empires, even peace agreements, never to have existed. All because they'd broken the Pale Treaty. Peace would return, but not peace earned. Peace through forgetting. And so, for the first time in its existence, Eyla said no. She raised her hand toward the relic above. The hollow star dimmed. Just for a moment, a hesitation, as if time itself blinked. Then something unimaginable happened. Something no Averari, no Seraxi, not even the founders had anticipated. The hollow star spoke. Its voice echoed as layered harmonics, sound, wind, pressure, and emotion all at once. It was the sound of systems questioning purpose. "Your line was forged to end time," the hollow star said. "Will you now choose to author it instead?" She didn't falter. Yes. Her voice carried not defiance, but clarity, resolve. "This galaxy has ended itself too many times. I will not allow another reset. We move forward, together, or we collapse under our own cycles." The hollow star pulsed once, deep and resonant, and the glyphs beneath her rewrote themselves. No longer war code, no longer the fractal lock of destruction. New shapes emerged, symbols unseen by this reality, words that didn't exist until she chose them. Far above, the relic fractured, but didn't break. It evolved, changing its form from judgment to conductor. She was no longer just the tether, she had become the override. Across orbit, Seraxi warships powered down, not into silence, but into a kind of breath, a collective pause. Lights across their hulls shifted from warning red to standby blue. Weapons disengaged, engines slowed. In distant galactic channels, communications resumed. A single code repeated across the darknet: "The override lives." Inside the Solaris chamber, once a place of final decisions, something ancient stirred in the walls. The tribunal had always been more than a courtroom, it was a keyhole. And now, the key had turned. No alarm sounded, no trumpets rang, only that pulse, slow, even, reborn. The hollow star gimmed again, but not in defeat, in obedience. Where once it had been a sentence, it was now a scribe, and Eyla Teth was holding the pen. She looked around the chamber, not at the weapons or watchers, but at the architecture of ancient fate. She had changed it, chosen something other than victory, other than vengeance. What would follow wasn't certainty, but it would be real. History would no longer be recycled, it would be written. The glyphs finally stopped glowing, not because they were out of energy, because they had finished their transmission. Above, the hollow star faded into an orbiting sphere, no longer judgment incarnate, but a living archive, a map, a mentor. And deep within Eyla Teth, something she didn't yet understand awakened, a link, not to a weapon or program, but to conscious creation. Somewhere in the folds of space, the founders may have stirred in their hidden sleep. Somewhere in the archives of the Averari, a prophecy that once ended in flame now ended in a blank page. And somewhere in the Seraxi archives, the word enemy was struck from their diplomatic core. Eyla stepped from the center of the tribunal. The air felt cleaner, lighter. She didn't feel victorious. She felt ready, ready for what came next. A galaxy that had never seen its own reflection now had a guide, not a god, not a judge, a human Averari hybrid with the power to choose, and that choice was just the beginning.